So first of all, I would like to apologize in advance if something is wrong, because I flew all the way from London to Dublin this morning. I'm still a bit on a jet lag. It's almost noon. Who wakes up for noon? I don't know. So one of the things when I go to events and people talk about YouTube before me, I'm like, oh, those guys. I mean, they show those videos and everyone's like, oh my God, I would love to do that. And then, I come up on stage and analytics and everyone's like, oh no, I have to do that. So I'm going to talk today about the full customer journey, which is really important if we want to understand our customers. And I like to start this little boy. It's my son. He's really cool, cute, isn't he? So, yeah. And one of the things that we used to do quite a lot is build Lego. And I really appreciate how Lego do business. So just a little bit about Lego history. And who knows? Those bricks. Who played with Lego? Yeah, everyone plays with Lego, right? And this is, a few decades ago when I was a child. It's pretty depressing to say a few decades ago. But that's when I started to play with Lego. And, it was bricks, and it was awesome. I mean, we loved those bricks. And, this is a factory. I think the first factory, it was a few decades before, my few decades. And it was very manual, and the building instructions, that's back in my time. And, it was just building instructions and, nothing else. And maybe there was an ad in the back over. But that was Lego. I mean, but now those kids, they're building those, full functioning robots that can send requests to Google Analytics and, sensors and everything. They can speak, they can walk, and they can bite you. And that's the factory, which is pretty nice. I would love to visit. And so if we think about Lego's, marketing initiatives, they have, of course, the Lego offline store. People can go to the store and buy Lego. They have the online store, which is a very nice website, and they optimize it, and it's really nice. Now, they have 16 Android apps. That's pretty crazy, isn't it? 16 Android apps. They have Ninjago, which is a movie. We watch Ninjago on Netflix. They have a newsletter that we signed up for. And, of course, they have Google Plus channel, Google Plus. And they have lots of activity on Google Plus, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn. Everywhere you go, you see Lego, and they have, they do well on all those channels. But when we stop and think about, how can you measure those things? I mean, that's a whole lot of channels and a whole lot of online, offline, and multi-devices. Now, that's the way we look at it at Google. We look at three main ways or main challenges when we are measuring customer behavior. And first one is holistic measurement. So we want to measure the customer, not an app or not the website, not the offline store. We want to measure a customer in all those channels, all those touch points. There is the full credit measurement, which is how can we attribute credit to all those channels? Because people can come to my website through display, search, and then YouTube, and then how can I attribute the credit between those channels? And the third one is active measurement. So we must have accurate measurement. For that, we need to work hard, unfortunately. But so the first one, let's start with holistic measurement. If we can play the video, please.
Welcome to NFL Network's playoff coverage. We have plenty to talk about as the race to the Super Bowl. The NFL draft is officially open. Here are my NFL.com fantasy projections for 2011. Adrian Peterson's one of my top running backs.
This is NFL Red Zone, where you get every touchdown from every game. Touchdown!
Get the NFL. Anytime, anywhere.
That's me using YouTube. So I really like this video because, I feel just like that when I'm at work and I'm reading something and then I have to take the train, and then I'll just take my mobile, synchronize between my Chrome in both devices, and then I'll keep on reading. And that raises a very hard challenge for people trying to measure how the customer is behaving on all my properties. And I think one very important way to look at that is trying to understand for each device that we have what people like to do there. So for example, if I'm booking a trip for my vacations, so I'll start on my mobile, I'll read some reviews, and I try to find some ideas, so that's awareness. And then I'll arrive home, I'll sit on the sofa with my wife and look at the tablet and try to find, do some more research. And then I don't like, specifically I don't like to buy a trip on my tablet, so I'll go to my laptop and then complete the purchase, right? So it's 3 devices, I'm doing 3 different things. And one of the first things that I would like to suggest is we should be able to look at each device and how people are behaving. And I'll just say a few words more about that, how to do that on Google Analytics afterwards. Now, the type of questions that this will help us answer is how many of last season's bookings originated on a tablet and then completed the purchase on a desktop, which is a very important question because then we can attribute the value between the devices as well. Also, what's the total value across multiple touch points of our customers? And is there a big overlap between devices? Because if we know, for example, that people usually start at a desktop, at a tablet, and then go to a desktop, we can cross-promote different solutions, like cross-promoting Lego app on the Lego website, for example. Now, the second challenge, which is something that became kind of a buzzword, which is marketing attribution, but it's really something very important. And one of the ways I like to explain that, I grew up in Brazil, and we used to watch soccer. And I think when you watch soccer, it's very, very intuitive that it's about the team. It's not about the person that scores the goal. So, and when we look at marketing, it's not like that at all. So we always look at, the last channel that brought a person that bought something. And also, when we look at companies, it's also built like that, that you have, a PPC department and an SEO department, and then you have email marketing, and each one is worried about bringing the biggest number of leads or buyers. So we should look at our marketing like a team, which is something very important to keep in mind. And this is a tool that, how many of you know this tool, the customer journey, the online customer journey? That's great. So this tool, it was built by the Google Think team in partnership with Google Analytics, so it's Google Analytics data. And what you can do, you can go to this, I'll share a link, in a second. And you can go in here, in the, we're so high here. So there is a drop box, and then you can select, for example, if you are in the retail industry or the travel industry, and which country you are in. We don't have all the countries, but we have a few of them. And what we will see is which role each channel plays on the conversion. So, for example, in retail in Germany, usually display plays an awareness role. So people get to know the website through display, and then later, when they are, for example, considering buying or with the intent to buy, they will come back through social, email, other paid referral, and then they will end up buying using either organic search or direct. So it's very, you can learn a lot about how your customers behave and how to invest your money in marketing using this tool. That's the URL, if you want to. goo.gl/WMCA, capital Y, capital P. So, now let's talk about 2 specific examples. First, sorry? Okay. Good. If you had Google Glass, you wouldn't need to take your phone and then open it and then take a picture. Okay, Glass, take a picture. I'm training. Every time that I want to take a picture, instead of taking my phone, I say, okay, Glass, take a picture. Just to be prepared when it comes. It's important. So, now, let's talk about these two specific challenges. We are talking about cross-channel and intra-channel. So if we have, of course, that's the example that I said before, we have display and then we have email and search and then there is a conversion, right? How can we attribute the credit to those three channels? Or if we have a generic search, which is very often the case. If you have, for example, a travel website, you'll have, for example, trip to London will be the first search term that people will use, and then they will get to know your brand, and then the second, third searches, they will already search for your brand instead of searching for a more generic term. So there are many models out there. I won't talk about all of them, but what has been the case on Google Analytics and most of the tools is the last click attribution model, which means that the last channel before the purchase is the channel that gets 100% of the credit, which is very simplistic, and now we understand it better. And now there is other models like the first click, which is used, I think, for affiliates very much, that the first channel that brings someone to the website is the one that gets the credit. And we are trying, and we have many more models like the U-shape that we give the credit to the first and to the last, and then we can play with it. One that I especially like, that for some reason I didn't add to the slide, I want some suspense, is the time decay model, which means that the closest you are to the conversion, the highest the value the channel gets. So it means that if a campaign brought someone to my website 3 years ago, it doesn't matter, right? This campaign shouldn't get any credit. But if a channel brought someone to my website last week, and then this week, both channels, they should get a lot of credit. Okay? Now, let's talk about the third challenge, and then I'll go into some solutions that we're building at Google. And I think one of the biggest problems that we face today, I think probably all of you face, is Excel hell. You know the expression, right? Is that you have hundreds of Excel spreadsheets, and you have to merge the data, and every time that you need information, you have to look at several different places. And it takes a week just to build a report. And it's very hard to look at the data like that. If you need information right now, you need it to be available. So one of the things that we are working very hard to create, and you'll see in a while, is a solution that can bring all the data into one centralized place. And then it will enable people to make better decisions with data faster. Now, just to summarize the three challenges, and to make better decisions, we need a more holistic view of the audience. We need an attribution model. And we need a cross-platform integration, meaning that all the data will be in one place. So we can help, and I'll get into the Google Analytics part of it. How many of you heard about Universal Analytics? Okay, that's nice. That's quite a lot. And Universal Analytics is the new, we call it the next generation of analytics. And what it means is, first of all, that's the way it has been working for the last, 15 years, even before Google Analytics was created, is that if you come to a website through a mobile, back then there was no mobile, so there was no problem as well, and then you'll come back with a laptop, and then you come back using a tablet, that will be counted as 3 different visitors. So there are 3 different people and doing different things. So it's very, very problematic, right? We can't trust this data. It's not accurate. So we've been building this thing called Universal Analytics, which is user-centric analytics, meaning that now we can merge between all those visits and know that it's one person. Now, parenthesis, I think one of the things that I've been talking to my colleagues is that I think signing will be one of the main conversions starting from now, because for this to happen, we need to know that a person is a person, right? So the person needs to be signed in, otherwise I can't merge the devices. So it's really important to provide some kind of incentive to people to sign in on the website. So for example, I fly British and I have a very big incentive to be signed in on my mobile, signed in on my tablet, signed in on my laptop, on my Google Glass as well. I'll be signed in if I get one. And one of the things, so 90% of people use multiple screens sequentially to complete a task, which is a very impressive number, right? 90% use multiple screens to complete a task. And with that in mind, we are building, we just launched, I think, 2 weeks ago, this kind of report, which is sequential screens, that enables us to see, for example, what's the percentage of people using tablets and mobile. Can you read it? So that's mobile, tablet, and desktop. So we can see the percentage of people using each combination. And you'll also be able to see what's the sequence that they are using. So they're using first mobile, then tablet, and then laptop, and then they convert. And this will be really important for us to plan our content strategy. Even we spoke about content today. So what type of content people are consuming on the website, what type of content people are using on the tablet, and what type of capability they need for each of these devices. Measurement protocol. I love the measurement protocol. I mean, I think if my wife knew how much I love the measurement protocol, she would be very jealous. I really love the measurement protocol. And it can be used for so many things. It can be used to anything you want. And the measurement protocol is a new way to collect data. So what it does is, so up till now, we were able to collect data from desktop and mobile applications. So whenever you go to a website, the website sends a request to Google Analytics, and then we can see that someone was there. But now what we can do with the measurement protocol is that we can send requests to Google Analytics from anywhere, from a store, from a call center, from any place you want. So it opens up a whole lot of opportunities for us to measure things that beforehand were not measurable. And as I said about the sign-in, one of the interesting things is that once you're signed in and you're doing something, and then you go to store, you can now, for example, send information about this same visitor back from the store and know how much revenue this visitor generated. One example that I like, so let's suppose you spend €1 million on AdWords a month, right? That's and hopefully. And one of the things, and you have a store, and you give up coupons on the website, and you know that from €1 million you got, I don't know, 100,000 coupons downloaded, right? I don't know if that's good or bad, right? And that's the really important question. Now, when the person downloads the coupon, you can add the user ID, what I've been talking about, and then when the person scans the coupon on the store, we can send information to Google Analytics of how much the person spent on the store. And then you can close the loop, which is something really important, because now you can suddenly see, the ROI of offline transactions as well. So another important, maybe another usage of the measurement protocol, I think it's more interesting. This company in Australia called Loves Data, they built this hardware and they put just beside the coffee machine. And every employee had to swipe the badge every time that they drank coffee, okay? And then the machine would send a request to Google Analytics saying employee ID 123 drank a coffee. Now, what they did, they also linked the project management tool to Google Analytics. So every time that someone fixed a bug, for example, they send, well, employee ID 123, fix the bug. Then they could link coffee to productivity, which is a very interesting way, maybe they should invest more in coffee machines because people would drink more coffee and they would fix more bugs. And I really like this example because it shows us how powerful this is and how many creative solutions will come up as a result of the measurement protocol. So I hope now you love the measurement protocol as much as I do, right? Dimension widening is also, I'm saying a bunch of a bit techie terms, but I think it's important to understand them because they're very important for your future. And dimension widening, what it does is it sends, you can add more data to Google Analytics without having to collect it on the website. An example, so I use the example of Lego with my son. And this is he wants it for his birthday in January. And as you can see, it is 275 pounds. And I'm working on weekends on McDonald's, to, for the money, because, maybe I'll consider sending him to his grandmother, which is also a solution. So one of the things that we can see in this page, so I was trying to understand what they're collecting. And again, I'm not affiliated to Lego. I don't have commissions for the sales. And it's, but I really like the way they do. And I don't really know if they measure all those things. Well, I know they don't measure with Google Analytics, but they may be measuring with something else. And as you can see in the URL, there is shop.lego.com/Great Britain/Death Star 10188. Right, so there is a URL and the name of the product and the product ID. Those are the things that they decided to put on the URL. But now you look at the sidebar and you see all those really interesting information, like, it's a Star Wars. There's a whole collection of Star Wars Lego products. And ages 14 plus, there are almost 4,000 pieces. VIP points, 274. So there is the Star Wars set. It's a vehicle. It's hard to find. All right, so we have all those things. And I think everyone can envision a table sitting on a Lego, Excel or something, and which is a product ID and all these informations, right? They probably have some kind of table like that. And what dimension widening enables us is to upload this table to Google Analytics, and suddenly you have all this information that you can analyze. So, for example, you can group all the Star Wars pages and see what's the conversion rate for Star Wars. You can group all the hard-to-find items. Maybe they shouldn't be hard to find. Maybe they should be easy to find. Because, maybe, and it enables us to do much more with the data. Cost data upload. Maybe this is, I think, probably the most important thing that you will hear today. Maybe not today, maybe now. Maybe in the last 5 minutes. Cost data upload, what it enables us is, so in the same way that we can upload more data about a product, we can upload more data about a campaign. So let's suppose you use one of those tools. If you do, you can stop, but if you don't stop, at least measure it. And so, for example, one really easy thing to do is, if you have, for example, a campaign on Bing or Facebook, is to tag all those campaigns and see how many people are coming to the website and what they're doing and how much revenue you get from each campaign. That's pretty easy to do. And if you don't do that, you can just search on Google for UTM parameters, I don't know, and do that because it's really easy. Now, what costs that? One of the things that it's missing, if you do that, just that, is that you will see how many people came to the website, and you'll see how much revenue. Now, there is one thing missing, which is really, really important, which is the cost data, right? Because if you don't know how much you spent on those campaigns, you can't link that to behavior and to conversions. So cost data upload, it allows us to upload even CSV spreadsheets to Google to say campaign X cost I don't know, $5,000 euros. Right, so that's really important because then now you can upload, for example, Bing data and Facebook data and LinkedIn data and compare it to AdWords that we have, of course, an integration, but it enables you to see all the data in one place, all your marketing budget just in one place. So this is really important, cost data upload. Now, all this in real time. And this is one of my colleagues in London, Clancy Childs. He built this app for his watch that he used the real-time API. And now every time that he looks, what time is it, he can see how many people are there in the website, which is amazing. I couldn't think of a better, use of my watch. So, just 3 takeaways that I would like to go through. The first one is use segmentation to understand the customer path. And here, how many of you use Google Analytics? Nice. And so if you use Google Analytics, you can log in and you'll see there is the advanced segments or user segmentation. And you can just create, it's pretty simple, you'll see there, one segment for mobile, one segment for tablet, and one segment for desktop. And you'll see in such a beautiful way how differently those people behave and how the metrics differ. For example, when you see a website that is not optimized for mobile, you'll see that people just don't stay on the website. They don't do anything on the website. So you should optimize for mobile. So this is something that you can do right away, and that I'm pretty sure that it will drive lots of insights. Now, the second one is about attribution models. It's also available on Google Analytics, and you can look in the conversions tab. You'll see there attribution models. And what you can do there, you can compare between different models and see how better you would make if you would change your models and maybe change your marketing budget as well. Now, number 3, get started with Universal Analytics. I think it's really important. From now on, we'll be developing more and more on the Universal Analytics platform. And so just start thinking about it. And that's it. Now, one thing that I would like to say, I hope my objective with this presentation is that instead of going back home and turning on YouTube on your TV or laptop, you'll just sign into Google Analytics, because it's really fun. So thank you very much.